Welcome to Monday Night TPK. Alright, hello and welcome to the first episode of Monday Night TPK. My name is Kyle. I am DMing this thing that we're doing. Around me at the table are 5 other individuals who will be hopefully talking more than me. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can hope. To my left.
Hi, I'm Dana.
Next to Dana.
I'm Maggie. I'm obnoxious.
She is, it's true.
I'm Ryan. I'm trying to be louder.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Hopefully you'll get to know these people a bit more as we go along here. So we are playing through Tomb of Annihilation, and we're starting at level 1. We've created all of our characters. We may at some point release audio footage from that. That's right, audio footage. Audio footage from that. We also may not, because it's kind of a trash fire, so yeah.
Our
The quality was a lot lower, yeah.
Yeah, we've learned a few things since then. So we are playing this on what is called Meat Grinder mode.
That's the one with the alternate rest rules?
This one, I don't know what you're referencing. The only difference between traditional Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition, because this is a 5th edition, a real play podcast, as it were, Meat Grinder mode sets death saves at 15 as opposed to 10. We're playing in a very high-stakes environment. Everyone here is a veteran D&D player. Nobody's newbie. Everyone should know what they're doing. Characters are made a little bit beefier than standard first level characters. I feel like you guys can handle it. So, for the past several days, the talk on the streets and taverns has been all about a so-called death curse. A wasting disease afflicting everyone who's ever been raised from the dead. Victims grow thinner and weaker each day, slowly but steadily sliding toward the death they once denied. When they finally succumb, they can't be raised, and neither can anyone else, regardless of whether they've ever received the miracle in the past. Temples and scholars of divine magic are at a loss to explain the curse that has affected the entire region, and possibly the entire world. Our game begins in the port city of Baldur's Gate. It is a cold night in the middle of Chess, which is of course a month according to the Faerun calendar. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but CHES?
I'm not sure. I'm just curious what season it is.
I think of March.
Okay.
Basically March. If you want the exact date, because you guys would have the exact date. It is the 14th of Chess. And again, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe a day will come where people correct me with extreme prejudice on the internet.
Yep, welcome to that.
So you guys are all in a bar, because what good adventure, what good D&D session does not start in a tavern? A lot of them, actually, probably, but this one starts in a tavern.
Out of the Abyss?
It's true. That starts in a jail cell, right?
Good. It was very good.
You guys are in a tavern that is called the Thunderlock Inn. It is, like I said, it's a cold night, and the bar is sparsely populated. There are probably about 12.5 or so people in the entire room. There are two owners of the bar. One of them is behind the bar. That would be a dwarf who would introduce himself as Meep Locktickler. And anyone who has gone up and gotten a drink has heard numerous stories of his daring and adventures in his younger days. His thievery and sneaking into places and sneaking up behind people that really did deserve that dagger between the ribs. Assisting Meep Locktickler is a tall, thin human by the name of Famous Thunderhand. Famous loves to kind of mill about the bar. Sometimes he serves drinks, but he likes to just walk around, tell stories, make sure everyone's having a good time, encourage any groups to kind of pass through to spend a little bit more coin. And just kind of a kind of open older man with a long beard. Every once in a while he'll do some prestidigitation, do little sparks of light, and if you've never seen him like cast any major spell, he definitely gives off the wizard vibe. As we look at the people sitting around the bar, there's a interesting cast of characters. There's an assortment of, even though it's only about 12.5 people, most races and types of people are represented, including.
So as you look across the tavern, you notice sitting at the bar is a gigantic figure, and as you look closely, you notice his dark green skin, and he almost seems to be hovering above his bar stool at the bar, trying not to break it from his enormous size. But he has very short, dark hair cut close to his head with an axe across his back and a quarterstaff.
An axe and a quarterstaff, just kind of like crisscrossed.
Yep.
Very cool. Who else do we see?
Sitting at a table is a young dwarf woman with short red hair, kind of wavy, splattering of freckles, and she's holding a book that says, "So you want to be a hero for dummies." And she's just paging through it.
Is that book by like Volathamp?
Yeah.
Gedhard, what's his name?
Volo!
Volo?
Yeah, it's by Volo.
I imagine Volo must have a book like that out there somewhere in the world. Very cool, very cool. Who else do we see?
Are we just going in order then?
Might as well just go around.
That doesn't matter to me. I free whoever's ready.
I guess around the bar, sitting at his own table, making staring at individuals. A tall, lanky human with shock white hair, just kind of nursing a drink and just taking his surroundings in.
Okay.
Would say probably sitting at a table across from a halfling is an elven woman of beauty, but she's partially masked by the scars that adorn her face, and especially a long, thick one that runs from one side of her neck to the other. She has ebony skin, shoulder-length black hair, and the bottom half of which her hair is a reddish-orange glow to it. She also has a tattoo on her wrist that is all written in Elvish that is glowing at the same color as her hair. She has, sitting next to her, leaning on the table, would be a bow and a longsword quiver for her arrows, and a dagger on her hip.
And sitting across the table from her, at first glance, maybe passed off as a child, but in fact it's a halfling with shoulder-length curly brown hair that's kind of half-heartedly tossed into a ponytail. And when you look at her, just what do I want to say? When you look at her face without expression, she seems to look kind of mean, but you'll notice the more you look at her and see her engage with others, she smiles a lot and seems quite joyful. And her legs dangle way off the floor when she talks to others. And she has a bright colored cloak. And other than that, she looks pretty ordinary.
Alright, fantastic. So in addition to this motley crew of characters, other tables are filled with dwarves and elves. There's even a dragonborn kind of sitting off to one side in a corner, having a hushed conversation with a pair of dwarves. A casual observer might even see like the dwarves kind of trying to be discreet about handing over a bag of gold and failing miserably, much to the humor of the dragonborn accepting the money. And the night wears on. There's bouts of laughter, there's conversation, there's hushed drinks, there's quiet contemplation by all in the room. As midnight approaches, in the distance in the city of Baldur's Gate, a clock can somewhere be heard striking midnight. The two owners of the bar, Meep and Thamus, move to the center of the bar. To an observer, someone could see Thamus kind of cast a quick spell, and with a loud, booming voice, say to the crowd, "Your attention, please. Thank you all for being here. It has been a very calm, but I think it's been a very good night. You are all very lucky. You are here." He'll say that this is a very special night for myself and Meep. We have been planning something extra special for months now. Some of you may have noticed the construction happening outside of the backside of this establishment. If you are new in town, perhaps you are unaware. Maybe you've been waiting and watching to see what we're going to reveal. Tonight is that night. Now, you have all heard the tales of this curse that seems to have befallen the region. It may dissuade some of you from wanting to try what we have planned, but I promise you, it is much safer than you might anticipate. We have built a unique set of trials. We have built a unique set of challenges in the basement of our establishment. We have built for you and for what we hope future patrons the Thunderlock Barcrawl. And with that, Thamus is going to turn and kind of wave a hand, gesturing towards the back wall of the bar. And the entire wall and the bar itself shimmer for a second and then fade, proving themselves to have been an illusion, a tangible illusion, but an illusion. And you can see that the bar itself, the room itself actually extends considerably further into a larger space. And from where you're sitting, because at this point everybody in the bar is just like, what? And watching and listening and very curious. There's whispers from the crowd. But at this point you can see that this, further beyond where the wall was, what you thought was the back wall of the bar, it probably continues another 50 feet. And there is about a half wall that goes in a circle in the center of the floor. The wall is about 3 feet up. Thamus will kind of gesture and start walking in that way. Like, please, my new friends, come and see what we have created. And you see a lot of people kind of grab their drink and kind of shrug a little bit. There are further just tables further on. If you kind of look further, you can see along the side walls, along one side wall, there's another bar with stocked alcohol and stuff, kind of similar to the one that just kind of vanished. And other patrons kind of get up and, oh, what is this? And there's talk what's going on? What is this? And they kind of start gathering around Thamus. What do you guys do?
Kind of to no one in particular. Are we supposed to clap?
Hi, yes. Is this trial heroic?
The Thamus is going to turn and look to you like, great question. This is perhaps the most heroic thing you could do tonight in a bar. This is a recreation of some of the most epic and the most exciting adventures Meep and I have ever been on.
She's already walking towards it.
Meep and I have been friends for many, many years, and we have experienced many interesting caverns, many interesting dungeons. We have even met a few dragons.
Wait, dungeons
Can I roll an
and
insight check?
dragons?
Yeah, go for it.
That is a 19.
He's deliberately being very theatrical in his presentation of what's...
Boasting.
He's very obviously boasting, but, from just the reputation he seems to have, you might believe it.
Okay.
Maybe, he hasn't met lots of dragons, per se. So, you think maybe that's a little... Okay, I don't know, dude. But...
Could be true.
Could be true.
Okay.
Now, there is a hint of danger. But tonight, on our inaugural event, I'll need some volunteers. He's going to kind of look into the crowd. And a lot of people... instantly...
Twana raises her hand.
So, instantly there's a dwarf. Put her hand up. Me! I'm sorry, I shouldn't talk for you.
Me?
Okay.
The hulking orc that was sitting so carefully, is already standing up. He stood up almost unconsciously once he saw some acts of magic being performed. And as, the call for volunteers happens, he sort of becomes aware of what he's doing and tries to shrink back down into his seat to not seem like he's standing out.
Thamus will see you with we'll first kind of talk to the dwarf who stood up. Ah, miss! Our first volunteer!
And adjusts her headband. He's like, yeah. Looking really bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Right this way. Meep will fill you in on the details as we try to find some more volunteers. And Meep kind of walks over to a side door and kind of just gestures to you a little bit. And then Thamus turns to the orc, Rixer, who he doesn't know your name yet. It's like, you, sir, I see some hesitation. I promise you, it is quite safe. Would you like to experience something wild and exciting?
Rixer will just kind of look down and continue to drink, shaking his head, just very uncertain.
I want you to think it over. Think it over. Is anyone else in the crowd?
I'm not. I'm raising my hand out of game.
Yeah.
Because I have a role thing. Okay.
What's up, Sam?
Brielle, she had an Adventures for Dummies book. Do you think we should go help her?
Brielle doesn't respond with her voice. She doesn't speak out. She begins making hand gestures towards Gilly, and she is using sign language. And she will. I won't write this one down. She'll say it's not dangerous, and then do like air quotes.
But she was reading an Adventures Guide for Dummies.
A hero's guide for dummies.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to offend your book. It's a great novel. She needs help.
Let's take a look around the room. How many of these people look like they could handle something?
You're pretty sure that the orc in the corner there that kind of seems hesitant. I mean, it's an orc. It's not even a half orc, and he has a giant battle axe. You're pretty sure, you don't know why he's hesitant, but you feel like he could probably handle himself. The Dragonborn in the corner talking to the dwarves catches your eye as someone who's
beefier, Dragonborn.
Yeah, he probably could handle himself. The old dude with the wide staring eyes by himself has got a staff near him, so you don't know if he's just a crazy dude. Maybe he's a crazy wizard dude. Sure, as you're scanning the room, taking in everybody, he is just watching everybody also, and you guys make eye contact for a second, and it's super awkward.
Oh, I think he likes you.
There's a couple high elves. Elves are innately magic. You can't really tell. There's no weapons on them,
Right.
so you're not really sure, I guess. about some of the other patrons.
I'll begin making hand signs at her again and tell her it's at least worth checking it out.
Yay! She doesn't have to go alone. Come on.
Brielle starts walking.
Wait, Pet. We'll do it.
Thamus is gonna turn to you. Excellent. 2 more. I'm sure you will be of great assistance to our young friend over here. I'm sorry. What is the age of Torna? You made her seem very naive and young, so I played off on that.
I didn't write it down. Dwarfs are probably like 50.
Yeah, dwarves hit. They're adult. So she's like teenagey. She might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Thamus is gonna kind of look around the crowd again, like, well, we could do this with 3. I feel like it would be less fun for the rest of you, but is there anyone else who'd like to participate? If it is any bonus to you, any treasure or items that you may find or collect while participating are yours to collect if you can reach the end of the trial.
My character have I noticed the orc kind of look like wanting to stand up but then sit back down?
I feel like you've kind of made it clear that you're really like watching everybody, and Thamus did directly speak to
And
the orc.
it would have been very obvious.
Big hulking orc. I'm kind of keeping attention, like seeing if he leads on or.
So after like attention has been drawn away from Rixor and other 2 more people have joined, Rixor will get up and try to kind of like skirt around the room to not draw attention. Trying to seem to just be wandering around, not directly heading there, and it will stop and kind of look at the area where the wall used to be, very intrigued, and then slowly walk towards the other 3. And I guess to give more description, because it was very vague first time, he has the closely shorn dark hair, like I mentioned before, and there are large patches of a darker green all over his skin. It kind of reminds you of pine needles. And then now seeing that he's definitely a full orc, not a half orc, you're surprised to see that he has no tusks. There are just 2 bulges on his bottom lip where his tusks would protrude but are not visible.
So you're sneaking around like towards Meep?
No, like towards where the other 3 volunteers.
Yeah, and the dwarf bartender is with the other 3 by there's like a side door that's closed.
Yeah, sure. So not sneaking, but trying to be slow and quiet.
Okay. Thamus is gonna see your advancement because he's kind of watching the crowd, trying to get a feel for participants.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna say, "Fantastic, sir! I'm happy to have you on board."
I noticed. I said that I was watching for his lead. So yeah.
All right. He seems a little bit shocked that you would participate in this. He wasn't expecting that. Well, I guess this is for everyone. Come on up, sir. And he's just like, not too sure what to expect from you, but I don't know.
My very best.
Absolutely. And he'll kind of like motion for you to go speak with Meep as well. He'll then turn to talk to the remaining crew that's there, the remaining patrons rather. And he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic! I think we have our first set of, dare I say the word, adventurers." And he'll kind of laugh a little bit, and nobody laughs also back. Then he kind of motions towards the half wall that seems to be like in this great big like long kind of like oval. And he kind of motions everyone over, and you guys can hear him explain to the rest of the crowd as they kind of like come and they're looking over. And he'll tell them like, it is all blackness now, but once they begin, you will all have a great view of their exploits through this space here. And kind of like as he's talking, you're kind of half listening there to him, to Thamus, but then Meep is kind of also beginning to talk to you. And he's like, you look like a fine lot. I think you'll do very well. Here's the deal. Down in the basement, we've built ourselves a sort of... It's half system of elaborate traps, half combat, half puzzles. It's not one thing, it is many things.
It's 150% of things?
He's gonna stop and, like, kind of count a little bit on his fingers. Yes. And more. Now, Thamus was not just blowing smoke. There are trinkets down below. There's gold down below. If you could finish this trial, whatever you find is yours to keep on the other side. If you do not finish this trial, then anything you find remains with us. Now, there are dangers down below, and with this death curse nonsense hanging over our heads, it was bad timing for this business endeavor that we've been building for so long. It is very possible that someone could get killed down there, because in all things, death is uncertain sometimes. But we have built in some fail-safes. Should any of you become unconscious, we have a sort of teleportation spell rigged up that will bring you back into a safe area where our healers can immediately heal you. And that brings us to one of our many rules. So he leans in and he talks to you guys about the rules for this dungeon. He kind of puts air quotes up for dungeon. He's going to tell you that you have 2 hours to best the dungeon. Those members of your group who succeed in making it out of the exit door in 2 hours or less will have your names added to the top of the brand new, never before used Thunderlock Wall of Crawlers. He just kind of like looks at you like you're supposed to be really impressed by that. I know, it's a big deal.
I have a question. Do we have to crawl through, like, on all fours?
He'll just kind of like give you a very inquisitive, kind of cocked eyebrow. Well, if you choose to do that, you may.
It's called the crawl.
It's a
There it is.
metaphorical sort of crawl.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to literally crawl, but you may if you wish.
No, I'm good.
It might slow you down.
I'm good.
All right then.
The elf looks back over at the halfling again and begins making hand gestures that say, "Oh boy."
I told you she needed help.
The dwarf kind of sees this exchange between the elf and the halfling and is a little bit confused. Just hold off on the spell casting. Just hold off on the spell. Yeah, just hold off on it until you save your spell slots for the dungeon.
She can't. That's how she talks. She talks with her hands. She's not spellcasting. I promise. We're listening.
Those looked a lot like the hand gestures that Thamus does when he's casting magic.
No. Different. I promise. I know the difference.
All right.
That's my job. One part of it.
He'll look around at you guys like, well, back to the list. And he looks like he's has a checklist in his head that he's going over for the rules. You're able to use any and all gear at your disposal to accomplish the task. You must move through the exit door under your own power and not via magic. You must exit before the 2 hours are up in order to gain your fame and your prize. If you'd like, y'all could bet on your success, although I will not allow you to take wagers on your failure. And that's it. If you should fall unconscious or fall to... Okay, he wouldn't say it, but basically if you fall to like 0 hit points or like what could be death, you'll be teleported instantly and come back with 1 hit point. If this happens and one of you is teleported away, you may be brought back into the challenge, but 20 minutes will be deducted from your total points possible. Or sorry, not points, total time available.
Okay.
Any questions?
The elf shakes her head no.
You said we can't go through the door with magic, but with our own power. What if someone, like, has to carry someone through?
You must.
That's not magic, right?
You must go through under your own power.
Okay.
You must move your own legs or arms to crawl through the final door.
Okay.
How big is the final door? Rixer just is like straight faced, like concerned.
The dwarf doesn't know how to respond to that question.
It's not gnome sized, right?
Oh, that's adorable.
He's going to tell you that I'm pretty sure it's like exactly the same size as this door. And he's going to point to the door right next to you, which is a standard size door.
Okay, it'd be a little tight then.
Yes, I suppose it would for you. But you'll probably fit. Unless accidents happen.
Gilly hand motions, so hand signs to Brielle. I think they're all gonna need our help. That one just by looking at him and just like eyes the white haired guy.
Huh?
But this is all in
Oh, no,
sign.
I'm fine.
So this is all in sign, so it's not out loud.
Once it seems that you're all amenable to the rules and willing to participate, he pulls a clipboard kind of off the wall and like, before you go in, I will need you to sign here to remove Thamus and I of any responsibility if something bad does end up happening. And he'll basically just like has a quill, like pre-inked quill on a clipboard and hands it to Rixer the orc.
Hold it very delicately and pick up the feather, like very, very close to the point where the ink is, and just kind of like scratches a little bit, and then just holds his hand out, not necessarily towards anybody, but just holding it out.
Torna will reach up and grab it. And write up Torna. And pass it to the white-haired man.
I admire the feather. Oh, right. Outside.
Okay.
And the thing to do.
The elf will take it and sign Brielle Falana. Hands it down.
The halfling reaches up and grabs it. And in very like calligraphy-esque writing, Gilly Weatherby. That. Yes. Here you go.
Meep will take it back. Kind of look over at the signatures. Kind of like raise an eyebrow as he like looks at the handwriting, particularly of the orc.
You could make out an R.
He's very confused at just the way Torna is written her name, and then just the rest of you. All right, this will do.
Probably a shaky signature.
But legible, probably.
Yeah.
The dwarf is going to say to you, "Make ye ready for the crawl," and kind of step aside and give you guys a chance to ready yourselves for this thing as he kind of opens the door, and the door you've been standing next to. When you're ready, head down the stairs.
Torna pulls out her hammer and starts down.
Brielle sheathes her sword, adjusts the dagger, throws her bow and quiver over her back. She also has a shield that I forgot to mention. It's also on her back.
Gilly just kind of excitedly goes, "Yeah, ready!" and gets like in this squatty stance, and then heads behind Brielle. What? You gotta do? Oh, stances aren't it? I thought. Oh, okay.
Brielle just shaking her head at her.
Oh.
Telling her to stop.
Let's go.
Rixer will pull out a buckler from his pack and strap it on tightly to his left arm and head through the door.
Get my turtle shell and my stick and
Your turtle shell and your stick.
Oh no. Oh no.
All right. A worn, wide wide set of stone steps leads down into a slightly wider chamber. Two crudely carved demonic statues with a bronze brazier seated in their laps flank an arched and open doorway directly across the cobbled floor from the entry stair. A dull reddish glow illuminates a runic phrase carved into the stony wall around the lintel of the entryway. One brazier is lit with a blazing, unnaturally red fire. The other bronze ornament stands cold and lifeless.
Are there any exits to the room that we can see?
Yeah, there's the archway in front of you, which is flanked on both sides by the
statues.
By the statues, which are each holding a brazier. One is lit, one is not.
And where's the rune at?
How dark is the room?
With the one lit brazier is enough to provide for.
At least low light.
It's fully illuminated.
Oh, okay.
What's your question?
Where's the glowing rune at?
A dull reddish glow illuminates a runic phrase carved into the stony wall around the lintel of the entryway. So
okay.
around the upper
Yeah.
lip.
Over the top of the arch.
Yep.
Okay. Can I read what it says?
Yeah, is it dwarvish?
What? Yeah.
Anyone who can read Dwarvish, and I know the dwarf can, so it's written in Dwarvish.
It's written in Dwarvish.
Okay, so if you can read Dwarvish, it says, "Fire reveals the treasure, but flame conceals the key."
Fire reveals the treasure, but flame conceals the key.
Does anybody have?
Well,
I will.
I think I got it. Oh, can I press digitation to flame out?
You cast prestidigitation on the fire in the brazier.
It's effects to put down,
Right.
put out a
Put out a
bonfire
fire.
size.
Yeah.
It does not go out.
Oh, well, I'm out of ideas. Sit down.
Brielle will walk over to it and hold her hand towards it. Do I feel heat?
It is not hot.
I put my hand in it.
You're immediately aware it's some sort of illusion spell.
I will reach down into the brazier itself and start feeling around for a key.
Give me an investigation check.
Ugh, nope. That's not good. That's an 8.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of grope around into the space, but ultimately, like, the bright light does prevent you from really seeing into it. And as you kind of feel around for it, you don't see anything or feel anything inside of the brazier.
This magic woman fire doesn't hurt her.
I will reach my hand out and start signing at Gilly and tell her the fire is fake. I think the key is in here.
Ooh, let me try. And I'll go get my hand up in there and investigate. Oh.
Oop, we're not doing so good on the rolls.
That's an 8.
Perhaps some otherworldly help could help.
Look at that magic.
Ooh, what?
Rixer's not actually raising his hand.
Oh.
Sorry, I should have. Do the right side.
Oh.
All of this talking is going on, and Rixer just like looks at one person is talking, and the next person is talking, and shrugs and walks through the archway.
Okay, as you're doing that, I think Ryan had a thing. So kind of like,
Yeah, they're kind of like.
I want to resolve his,
Yeah,
and then we can kind of come collectively back to what
I just
happened.
want to
Within
say
seconds.
that is starting before anything's found.
Okay.
I asked one of my friends for help and cast the guidance cantrip on, we'll say, Brielle. So, try your investigation again with a D4.
Adding a D4.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's cocked. That's not bad. That's pretty good. A D4, so that would be 17, 18, 19.
All right. So a couple things kind of happen at once. The mad wizard talks to his voices, and Brielle feels a little bit of celestial guidance kind of guiding her hand as she gropes back down into the brazier, and her hand is kind of guided partially by her own will, maybe by something else, to a iron key. And just as your hand reaches around it is when Rixer sets foot across the threshold into this other space. So Rixer sees beyond the rune-scribed hallway lies a long, wide hall. Even at first glance, it becomes all too clear that the hall is outright dangerous. Just beyond the doorway, the stone floor looks jagged and uneven. The floor ends where spidery, red, glowing runes line both walls. Where the rune ends, so does the floor, as it becomes a pool of bubbling, hissing, greenish liquid that only has 3 narrow boards as a way to cross it. Beyond the green pool is a pair of crudely carved bearded faces that dominate the hallway walls. The hall ends in a wide open doorway. The squared stone that frames the walls are constructed of thumb-sized holes arranged in a perfectly spaced pattern that is reminiscent of 5 pips on a gaming die. As you take in what looks to be a very foul route, a booming voice decrees, "Enter, heroes, and prove thy worthy, if ye dare."
I'll look back in the hallway and see if anybody's through the archway and see if anybody's following me or what they're doing.
I think Torna would start going behind him.
I'll pick up my key.
You can pick it up, and as you do, the booming voice actually repeats, "Enter, heroes, and prove thy worthy, if ye dare."
Brielle, do you remember what the second part of that thing said? And the fire conceals the key, but the fire shows the way to the treasure. Do you think we should bring this with us? It's going to show us the treasure, right? Fire, treasure.
That begins. You want to bring a brazier?
But can we hear it? Okay.
Fire's an illusion.
"Enter, heroes, and prove thy worthy, if ye dare."
I think the folks up top are getting bored.
And as the voice calls out the third time, basically a gate begins to lower slowly in the exit.
We should hurry, and I'll go into the next
Okay.
room.
Assign something really quick to Gilly before you walk through there.
Wait, wizard friend, can you light the brazier?
I'm not a wizard.
Oh, otherworldly.
But I can.
Okay, I got your attention. Can you light this brazier over here?
I'll do prestidigitation to light the empty brazier. Not brazier. Don't light braziers on fire.
Don't light brazier.
A little bit, I want to.
Unless you're frozen testing.
Ryan, give me an Arcana check.
Oh, okay.
That is a +3. That is a 17.
Your prestidigitation and you kind of like funnel some magical oomph into your spell there, ignites a bright reddish flame, unlike what prestidigitation would normally even be able to produce.
That's different.
Somewhere deep far down the hallway, you can hear the sound of heavy stone grinding against heavy stone.
Hey, I think that did something.
Yeah. Good idea.
Enter, heroes, and prove thy worthy,
You're getting impatient.
if
I'm gonna
ye
go.
dare.
I'm going.
At this point, it's probably
I
like
pat Gilly
2/3 of the way
I
down.
pat Gilly on the arm and
So
tell her
perfect
to,
halfling
and
eye.
point and tell her to go under the
We're
gate.
going! Loud, angry voice.
And then I kind of crawl under the gate.
Now, what was the first thing in the hall again? You named like 5 things.
That was a really long list of things that were in there.
We can come back to it in the future.
Okay.
You guys are now all in a long hallway. As I kind of described very quickly, there are different terrain types down the length of this hallway. Directly under your feet is a series of wooden planks. It's relatively stable, but the planks are very uneven. What do you...
I'm gonna
She wants to draw the
for everybody.
Okay, thank you. But the planks are very uneven. Some of them are overlapping each other, but they're sturdy under your feet. Past that, you see essentially a cobblestone flooring, something maybe you might see on a city street. After that, there is a pit of some sort of green liquid that is bubbling, and you can hear it hissing. It's undulating, and over top of it are placed 3 narrow wooden boards. Past that, there is an area that you see, it has kind of a yellowish sandstone appearance, and you can see protruding from the walls at the very end on the either side of the walls, or either side of the hallway, different faces with different facial expressions. It's a little bit hard to see from the distance what those facial expressions are. At the very end of the hallway, you can see there are a series of holes in the walls.
So like this wall or these walls?
The walls, like you're directly looking at, like the very end of the hallway.
Okay.
There's just a series of holes, like in the walls themselves. Yeah.
Alright, I missed one though because I was trying to concentrate. What is this second area?
That second area is the cobblestone.
How
I got it
well
now.
lit is this hallway?
You don't see any source of illumination, but it is a standard bright light.
Oh, okay.
There's no dim light through here.
Oh, okay.
So the boards under our feet right now are loose, like they're not nailed down?
Or they're just uneven?
They're just uneven. Like they are kind of nailed down, or at least they appear to be nailed down, but they're not uneven, like turned sideways. They kind of overlap each other, kind of weird. Like you might have to be a little bit of paying attention to where your feet are placed if you're going to go over it quickly. But you get the sense that if you're just walking casually, you could do so.
What was under
Casually.
the planks?
Which planks?
The ones right where we're standing.
They're
They're probably a hole.
You can't see anything. There is just boards. I mean, it's like a wooden floor, except for that it was maybe poorly made, and the wooden planks are uneven and overlapping in places.
Can I just reach down and kind of knock on the plank and see if there's if it's hollow underneath?
Sure.
Perception check
I mean, I'd roll that investigation.
or investigation. That's well over 20.
It appears
22.
it feels solid.
Okay.
All right. So you guys kind of walk in this doorway. The voice has been telling you, "Enter, adventurers," or whatever it was saying. And as soon as the gate closes, the voice cuts out, and you hear the same voice yell, "Begin!" Roll initiative.
Yeah, now I roll crappy.
I'll call for numbers here as soon as you all have rolled. All right. Who got higher than 20? What do you got?
22.
22. And remind me, Ryan, was still a new character. You're Mountwood.
Mountwood, yeah.
MW. Got it.
Sorry. Apparently I didn't put down my initiative either. That's just Dex. We don't add proficiency to it.
No, unless you have a feat.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just dexterity.
Okay, so then I'm over 20 as well.
What do you have?
At 21.
Perfect. It's less than him, so I don't have to change my notes. With Rixer at 21. Does anybody have 20? All right. Lower than, between 20 and 15?
Gilly Weatherby.
What do you have?
17.
17, we have Gilly. Does anybody have 15? All right. 15 to 10. Haha, neat. All right. 10 to 5.
You can't tell, but me and Maggie are just staring at each other.
Right. We are
Grinning.
racing for last place here. What do you guys got?
I got a 4.
I got a 3.
Ah, all
Maggie
right.
wins last place.
4, we have Brielle.
You know, I remember the last time I rolled this.
3, we
one
have
of these games that ended up squished.
Torna.
Mm-hmm.
She's still consulting her book, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, Montwood.
Yes.
There's a walkway in front of you.
All right.
What are you gonna do?
Well, since apparently I'm first to take action. Oh, what's over there? And I'll go look at the planks.
The ones under your feet? No, I'm sorry.
Cobblestone is next.
Yeah. I'll move forward.
Yeah, show me how far you move.
Okay. Ow. Making me lean.
Oh. I mean, I can move your character for you.
Yeah.
30 feet forward,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Okay, 30 feet puts you right at the edge between the end of the boards, and you are almost on the cobblestone.
Just out of curiosity, just use the rest of my turn to kind of tap at the cobblestone, make sure it's not something that will fall.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it is. If you really want to, I guess, know a lot, give me an investigation check, I suppose.
Sure thing. Investigation. That's a +3. Yeah, 20. 23.
You are
Where's that 20?
very satisfied that it is some sort of cobbled stone. All right, cool.
And I don't think it's gonna fall apart, guys.
All right, Rixer is up next.
It's kind of like stomp his feet in place where he is, just to get a feel for if it's holding his weight.
He gets the feeling that it is holding his weight.
All right. So he will also go up forward 30 feet
Okay.
into the cobblestone.
You are standing on solid cobblestone.
Okay.
You are about 5 feet or so away from the bubbling green liquid. Now that you've gotten this close, you can smell it. It's got kind of a burning, sickly odor to it. It's pretty pungent.
Can I see the state of the boards better?
Sure. Why don't you throw me an investigation?
That's gonna be a 6.
They appear to be made from wood.
Well, it's okay up here. There's some wood boards.
All right, cool. Let's see here.
Tall. What's your name?
Rixor?
Thanks, Rixor.
Yeah.
Maltwood,
Hi.
you hear towards the very back of the hall. Well, I'm sorry, in front of you, so far end.
Alright.
You hear a click just in time for a shaft of wood to come flying out at you.
Oh no.
Let's see here. Will an 11 hit your armor class?
It will not.
All right. So
Turtle shell.
you hear it, and you're kind of like instantly, because you're kind of like on guard a little bit. You know this is kind of weird. You hear the click. You bring your turtle shell shield up, and this bit of the shaft of wood thunks harmlessly off of your shell.
I take it.
You reach down, and pick it up.
Now my turn.
Okay. I guess that's right. Rixer, you hear a similar click, especially after seeing like him, and you really like look forward, and another shaft of wood comes towards you. Will an 18 hit your armor class?
Yes.
You are struck in the shoulder with for 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Gilly, you saw the wall far from you basically shoot what looks like 2 crossbow bolts out, and one of them, Mountwood, or the crazy dude's able to deflect. The other one hits the orc in the shoulder.
Okay. Did they both shoot out at about the same height? So up higher, like normal people height?
Well, I guess they did.
Or did it look like they both were like aimed per se to be shoulder length, depending on the person they were aimed at?
It hit the orc in the shoulder for sure, and the crazy guy, he had his shield up about upper chest, shoulder height when he deflected it.
Okay.
It all happened kind of fast.
Okay.
I mean, Rixer's shoulders are gonna be pretty high up, though. He's 7'2".
Guys,
That's true.
we are supposed to crawl. It wasn't just a play on words.
I guess so. Gilly's gonna move forward 25 feet, and then ready if she hears the click. Oh, I'm behind.
You're behind me. It's
Oh,
okay.
excellent.
I'll shield you.
That's
Apparently.
fine. No, never mind. We're good. We're good.
Or they
All
can
right.
come down here.
All right.
Mhm.
Gilly is
Yeah, the
about
holes are
10
long.
feet, 15 feet directly behind Rixer, the big beefy orc.
Yeah, that'll work out real nice.
All right. Let's see here. So those of you who are still on the wood, which is actually everybody
Right.
except for Rixer.
And the angle is the
You guys need to make me dexterity throws. The wood under your feet, the planks, begin to like rapidly shift and undulate up and down, and the whole floor is like making this wave motion in the wooden area.
Oh, am I still in the wooden area?
Everybody but Rixer is in the wooden area. Mountwood included.
It's a saving throw? Or
It's
is
a
it check?
dexterity saving throw. Yeah, dexterity. You may add your acrobatics if you have it. What you got, Mountwood?
5.
Cool. You fall to the ground.
I got a 21.
Okay, you're able to like very easily like stand
Like
the very
surf with it.
yeah. You kind of like stay on the tops of the undulations, and you don't seem to have any problem staying on your feet.
Gilly got a natural 20 for 23.
Gilly kind of like sees the wave coming, sees Brielle react, and Gilly can stay on her feet as well.
Ride the wave!
I got a 1.
Alright.
Plus 0.
Oh.
So this whole like
Oof-a-doof.
experience you're having right now is really not what you were expecting. You hadn't gotten to this chapter in the How to Be an Adventurer book.
Hero.
I'm sorry. You hadn't gotten to this chapter in the How to Be a Hero textbook. And you fall flat on your backside.
Okay. I don't go like 3 feet or more in the air first?
No, you just not prone.
Cool.
Yeah. That is fun. Wasn't that fun, guys?
This is nice. This is my life now. This is
Rickster
nice.
turns around. Why are you guys laying on the floor? Let's go.
They didn't ride the wave!
I don't know what that means.
Those of you who have just fallen on your backside, you now have a view of the ceiling of this room. The ceiling kind of just goes up for a great distance before fading into a blackness that you can't really see through. Also, at about the same time as two of you are knocked on your backsides, from a distance far away, you can't really tell the source, but somewhere you hear a group of people laughing. Out of character, what is going on, Maggie?
Are we allowed to swear?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Fuck!
Was that cathartic enough for you?
No.
No? Okay.
You can swear once and keep it PG-13.
Well, you can,
I just burned the one swear from the entire campaign, guys. You're welcome.
it's true, the entire campaign. Alright, let's see here. Rixer, to your left, the stone kind of like continues up on both sides, left and your right. The walls remain of stone. But to your left, a arcane symbol flashes for a moment, and a ball of fire flies out towards you.
Okay.
It might also be, it's a small ball of fire. It's a very small ball of fire. Perhaps even a bolt of fire.
Not even a great ball of fire?
Will a 19 hit you,
Yes.
Rixer? Neat. You take 7 points of fire damage.
So it looks like it definitely hurt Rixer, but he still just like holds his spot against it. Doesn't get knocked back or anything.
Cool. Out of character, what's up, Sam?
For clarification, see, I got it now. That arcane rune, could Gilly see that? Because she saw him get hit
Sure.
with fire.
I would say Gilly could see it.
Okay, so it was from the side wall then? Not
To the sidewall.
Okay. And about what level?
That one was, it kind of flashed, I don't know, like
3 feet
belly
up, 4
belly
feet up?
level for an orc.
So 3 feet up? 4 feet up?
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
over your head.
3.5
Oh,
feet
good.
up or so.
Yeah,
over
I'm
your
just
head.
figuring out how
Yeah,
low I
yeah,
have to duck. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Brielle, what you doing?
Brielle's gonna go forward. I'm gonna count something. Will you move me 30 feet, Dana? I'll just move. You know what? I'm not gonna do an action this turn. Move me all the way up.
So you're right at the
Right
edge.
at the edge of the green liquid.
Okay. So you are standing right next to the green liquid, and from here you can definitely, it's the smell just kind of burns your nostrils. There's kind of a wavy pattern kind of boiling off of it.
And then there's planks going across that, right?
And there are 3 planks going across it, 3 narrow planks.
They look sturdy. They're just narrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to give me an investigation for anything specific, you could.
Nope.
Cool.
That was a 3 on the die.
All right, cool. Torna, you are staring up into darkness while the boards under your back kind of undulate and move.
Sounds like a massage bed.
A little bit, yeah. Like a water bed made of wood?
Yeah, wooden bed. I stand up
Okay, you can stand up.
and move 25 feet forward.
Okay, that puts you still within the wooden zone.
And that's literally all I can do. Because
Okay.
that's technically a dash action, I think.
Yeah, it takes half your movement to
Oh.
get up.
So 10 more feet.
So you
Yeah.
I was gonna say you should be able to move 10.
Would she have been able to see the flash of fire that came out of
She was on her back.
She was on her back.
Yeah.
Alright, so we are near the bottom of the initiative. And a fun thing is going to happen. There's a very loud ratcheting sound. And you guys can look behind you.
I can only look up.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
okay, you can kind of like tip your head back a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a fun noise. The gate that came down behind you, it kind of like shifts a little bit. The bars that have been previously been just kind of pointing up and down towards the floor, kind of like break in the centers and like turn and twist to form jagged spikes. And the gate slides forward 15 feet.
Uh-oh.
And it's spiky at us.
And it is spiking at you.
Oh.
Mountwood, we are back at the top of the initiative.
Oh no. I'll stand up with half my movement. And you know what? I think I will try. I'm gonna try.
You're going to try what?
Cross acid.
5, 10. Then I'm going to dash and try to get across the plank here. Looks sturdy. I'm not very heavy, so.
It looks sturdy.
Alright, so
Is guidance a bonus action? But nope, I just gonna have to do it for reals.
yeah, you can. How far have you moved already?
I have moved with
10
like
feet?
25 feet. I'm gonna dash to get an extra 30 feet. Yeah,
Okay.
35 more feet.
You may cross. Give me an acrobatics check, but made with disadvantage.
With disadvantage. 7.
That super sucks.
Was the first one in that 20?
Yeah, that sucked a lot. So you get onto the board, and you get onto just that first square. And you slip and fall off the board, and you're into the green goo, which you realize, thankfully, only takes you about to like just below your knees. So it's not a very deep green goo. However, it does burn. It burns a whole lot. You take 4 points of acid damage as you fall into the liquid. You only use 5 feet of your movement.
Okay.
Just run across the rest of the acid. Ow.
Ow, 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 ow.
I move across. Would it be possible to do a standing leap to try to get back up, or?
I would let you use a athletics or acrobatics to kind of pull yourself up and over the edge. Like you're not like far into it. It's
I
like
just want to know if it's possible to do it if I cross.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll try standing leap. I'll try. I'm good with dex.
surprisingly,
16.
you have no problem pulling yourself up into the. It feels like sandstone. Is what it feels like.
So I can get here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there.
I investigate my sandals.
Your sandals,
Clean.
yeah, they may be the cleanest you've ever seen them.
They were mud caked. Yeah.
All right, that was Mountwood. Rixer, you are up.
Rixer is going to clear.
That green stuff burns.
Okay, thanks. Rixer's gonna clear his throat a little bit, pound his chest, and as
Don't
a bonus,
go in it.
the bonus action, use second wind to regain my hit points.
Oh, you're a fighter. I thought you were barbarian.
Nope, fighter.
So you guys see the big orc kind of like sucking his breath and kind of like tense a little bit and kind of shake off some of the burns and the wounds.
And then going to get out my quarterstaff from my back and hold it parallel to the floor out across and walk up to the edge of the pit. So, logically, this makes sense, but doesn't mean you're going to allow it.
Yeah.
Can Rixer straddle both the boards? Have 1 foot on this board, 1 foot on this board. He's 7 feet tall. They're 5 feet apart.
I'm gonna Van Damme this.
I mean, I'm 5 feet tall and I can put my legs out 5 feet.
I mean, I feel like if
Not
you,
necessarily be super balanced.
if you did that, yeah, like you would it do anything to your balance?
Make it very hard to take a step.
Are you gonna try to still move at
Half
full?
movement.
Yeah, you're gonna try to move at full speed still.
Oh no, I'll do half movement. But I thought maybe between doing that and having my staff as balanced, I wouldn't have disadvantage.
If you want to move a half movement, in addition, I will definitely give you just a regular straight roll.
Okay. Sounds good. So I will, Rixer will attempt to cross.
Acrobatics.
Yeah, okay. That's going to be 19.
You make it across.
So 10, 20, 30.
You make it all the way across.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You did it. You got it. You're there.
It wasn't so bad, guys.
Good job, friend.
Ryan's putting his hand up for a high five.
Slowly put up my
Mont would
hand.
owes for a high five.
I put my hand up exactly like he does, so it's up above my head.
Uh,
Not understanding.
This is what people do, I guess.
Slowly touches his hand.
The glowing radiance comes from the high five. Friendship is forged.
It's like in Mario Party when you high five.
Rexor
Yeah.
will remember this.
It's like
all right.
remember.
So, Montwood, you hear a familiar click at the other end of the hall.
Oh, right. Forgot about that.
Yeah. And a wooden shaft comes flying your way.
As I'm giving a thumbs up to Rixor.
Yes, you're definitely giving him a thumbs up.
You're about to lose that thumb.
Hey,
You're just
never
like
mind.
blunt
Shoot.
bolts.
You take 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Was I hit?
Yes.
We need a monk.
Okay. You
Yeah,
asked me
you
if I...
didn't say the AC.
I know.
Okay. Real quick, I wouldn't be surprised if I can't. But for protection, it says a creature you can see. When a creature you can see attacks another within 5 feet, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on that attack. But since it's the wall, even though I know where it's
Yeah.
coming from, it doesn't
It's
count.
a trap.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
You
gonna...
said 8 points?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
I had 11.
Man, I feel like you wouldn't want to just start running forward, right?
I don't know.
Are you exactly like where you at?
I would be at -1.
Neat. We'll see how this plays out.
Rexor?
Rixer here's another familiar click.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm right in front of the doorway, archway.
Oh yeah, she is. She's in front of the archway.
Okay, you're right. Would be an invalid target at the moment. They can aim a little bit, but not that close. Gilly here's a click.
Uh-oh.
Show was on my green.
A 15 to hit you.
No.
All right,
Get down.
you kind of drop a little bit, and the bolt flies over your head. You hear it clunk against the gate behind you.
Oh no. She looks behind her.
And Gilly, it's your turn.
Gilly will move up to be right at the side of Brielle, as Brielle used sign language while she was passing to come up next to her.
Okay. Nobody is on the floor anymore. That is too bad. Because I think that's a fun one. But 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. Who's the unpainted mini?
Me.
Yeah.
So we got Torna, Brielle, and Gilly in the cobblestone. A mystical arcane symbol
No.
to your left on the wall, kind of low down, about chest height for you, flashes into existence
No.
for just a moment,
Oh no. Oh no.
and a very small ball of fire
It's gonna get hot.
flies towards you. Will an 18 hit your armor class?
Yes.
You are struck by a tiny ball, maybe even a bolt size, chunk of fire. You take 7 points of fire damage.
Ow! Well, that really hurt! As my arm's like... Why does it taste like... Or why does it smell like chicken?
Brielle, it is your turn.
Brielle is going to lay a hand on Gilly. And she's going to close her eyes and begin... Looks like she's concentrating on something. Her hair will turn from the autumn red and turn into will turn to like a light leafy green color, and also the tattoo on her wrist changes the same, and she will just go, and we misty step, both of us, 30 feet, but I'm going to push her in front of me so that when we come out she's in the doorway.
You're just throwing her through the first doorway. All right.
I want her out of the way of the arrows.
All right. So Rixer, just there's like you hear like a poofing sound, and these two just appear right in front of you. Torna, there's a poofing sound, and suddenly your newfound comrades have just like left you.
Well, technically we don't have to work together. So whoever gets to the end gets what they
I
find.
suppose that's true. That's true. It's also your turn, Torna.
It's okay. We're finding someone they can hold on to, and I cast Mage
We can share
Hand,
space, can't we?
and I use it as a balance as I'm walking
So you're
across,
not in the
like
next
I'm
room.
holding someone's hand.
I
So
will keep you
That's
right
really
next to
clever.
me.
That's really great. I like that a lot.
Kyle. We can share space because she's so small.
Oh,
so actually,
that's right. That's
she
right.
will be in my same space.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
She can do that.
I will be giving her cover so if anything comes.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, Mage Hand, and I hold it kind of like a grandma getting helped across the road and make my way across the.
Are you gonna go full speed or half speed?
I think with the Mage Hand, I could probably go at a decent pace. I'll slow down if I feel like I'm tripping up. So.
Okay.
I guess
I
that
definitely
makes a
feel
half
like that's a fun use of Mage Hand. I won't make you roll disadvantage.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
To the middle one or the one on the left?
The one behind Rexor.
I mean, they're both.
Yeah.
Richter takes up all the
So
space.
what am I rolling?
Acrobatics check, please.
9.
Okay.
Mage Hand shows you.
So you get almost to the end,
So she's like here.
like on the last space,
You have to be in a warlock.
and you don't fall, but you had to it was so uneven, and you almost fell, and you had to kind of hyper correct yourself, because you only missed it by 1. You don't fall in, but you don't make any further movement, and the rest of your movement speed has kind of been used up and not falling in the acid.
Right. Yeah. She's just saying they're softly singing a Beatles classic, but I'm not sure if I can sing because copyright.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
I'm sure you can't sing well enough for it to be picked up by you.
But no.
You're gonna hold the hand. All right, cool. And you used your action to cast the Mage Hand. That's correct. Okay, cool. Out of character. What's up, Matt?
My turn.
Didn't you?
Misty Step is only my bonus action.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right about that.
Can I take a gander in that next room real quick? If you're done, Maggie. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. This hub-like chamber is mostly occupied by a shallow pit. A narrow walkway runs along the walls. There are seemingly 5 exits from the chamber. At both the right and left sides of the pit are 2 open, arched doorways. Across the pit are 3 doors. 2 wooden doors flank an iron-plated door in the center. The only other notable feature in this chamber is what looks to be a massive pile of moldy furs and feathers.
A whereabout. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
where are
it's
those
not.
at?
I can't see it, but yeah, whereabouts.
Okay, yeah, I didn't fully draw in this room. There is just a 5-foot walkway along the edges.
Okay,
And
so
then-
that's horribly narrow.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
stand there, but you couldn't really pass. And kind of in the center of the room, down in this pit, is an enormous pile, as I said, of moldy feathers. I'm on the wrong page. Of moldy feathers and furs.
So she can't do anything else, but I still have my movement. I'm gonna go this way and into that room on the right.
Well,
right.
Before you get that far, so like basically like before you get that far, so probably about here actually.
And I'm not in that space.
Right.
No,
Right,
she's
yeah,
actually
she's-
back
she's
one.
back one.
Yeah, she's back one.
So you've moved about 10 feet kind of into the room and around the corner a little
Okay.
bit. The moldy furs and pile of feathers begins to move, and you realize you're looking at an owl bear.
Oh no!
Does that change anything with what you're doing?
Oh. Has it? So I just kind of like maybe it was sleeping and it shifted. It's not like
it is
doesn't
turned to look
realize
at
I'm
you.
there.
It is turned to
Oh,
look at
it
you.
turns to look at me.
Yeah, you realize its back had been to
Oh.
you.
How dark is this room?
It is dimly lit throughout.
So there's shadows, correct?
Yeah, I suppose. Aren't you like glowing slightly?
My hair glows, but here's the thing: I'm wearing a scarf
Ah,
that has a hood attached.
Okay.
I want to pull that hood
okay.
over, and then I have a mask that it's part of the hood. I want to pull that up and kind of shift into a shadow and see if I can stealth. And maybe it will not realize I'm there.
It was just a bonus action and move. Do you want to do the stealth action?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you move back into the corner then?
Yeah.
And give me the stealth action.
Ooh, that's not gonna be good. That would be 7.
It definitely seems to like have stopped moving, but it is still kind of facing the direction you.
The direction I was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stay completely still.
Okay.
I will end my turn there.
Cool. All right. Now we are back to the very bottom of the initiative.
Can I see Gilly from where I'm at, that angle?
Um,
And she can see in, right?
I would say like you
Gilly could
guys
probably
can
see it?
pretty well.
Communicate
Gilly-
back and forth.
Gilly could see some movement of a shape in there. Maybe not make out because it's kind of dim light.
Make out the owl bear.
Yeah, make out what it is, but you can see there's a big shape in there.
I mean, you would see me do the mask and hide. You know what that means.
I'm
and
watching
I will
ya.
sign to you that that's an owl bear.
Okay.
And to be careful and quiet.
Okay.
All right, the gate at the back pushes forward a further 15 feet. You can hear kind of a metal scraping on wood noise. It's almost a cobblestone. It's not quite there yet. Out of character, what's up, Sam?
Oh.
Or is this in character?
Yeah.
My mistake.
Gilly's gonna turn around after receiving the knowledge and kind of share. There's an owl bear in there. So whispers, there's an owl bear in there.
Okay.
Theater whispering.
Yeah.
Theater whispering.
Cool.
Mercer, like, looks at the other two, like, next to and behind him. It's like, there's an owl there.
Hey, speaking of Montwood possibly dying in the before the game has started, really, give me a death save.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's a 3.
Well, that's fun. Okay, cool. Hey, Rixer. So there's an owl there, and also your weird-looking compatriot is laying unconscious next to you.
So, Rixer's gonna lean over and pick up Montwood and throw him.
Just
Very short.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just throw him into the room.
Awesome.
No, just pick him up. And is going to
Owl bear bait.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's an owl. No, it's an owl there. I don't know what that means,
An owl bear.
but probably something bad. So, okay. So what I'm gonna do is have my one on my left shoulder, and my hand is gonna kind of like be up and over his butt, so that my small buckler kind of blocks him, gives him a little bit extra protection, and then I'm going to. Can I still?
Very big.
Can I still share space with Gilly?
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I have dark.
That's 3 characters sharing space.
I have dark vision, 60 feet. So what can I see in there? I'm expecting an owl, but I don't know what type.
You see a large-sized creature. It looks like it's a large-sized bear, but it has the head of an owl. It's covered in feathers. It's got a beak, and it's got long arms that kind of look like wings, but you're not sure if they can really fly. And they've got long claws, and it seems to be. It's not moving. It's very, very still. It's got its claws up and kind of ready.
Okay. Do I see the elf in the corner?
I rolled what, an 8 or 7 stealth or
I mean,
something?
give me
It
a-
was pretty crappy.
Yeah, I'm gonna rule. I
I don't want to
7.
take the time to look at it. Do I
then
just
your
pass
passive
it?
perception.
perception.
You
Oh,
would
yeah,
you would
right.
see her. You would see her.
Right, I didn't write what that is, but yeah.
Maybe 10 plus anything.
Okay.
Something.
Right. And I can't pass because it's a 5-foot.
You can move through Sam's space.
Yeah.
Right, but I can't move through Brielle's space.
Brielle's off to the corner. There's
I'm
actually a
not-
doorway
you
right
can
there.
Move in through my. You can
Sorry,
move
I think-
through my space. You just can't stay in my
Oh,
space.
okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Gilly is you could stay.
You
we
can
can
stay in
share
my
space.
See, I thought Kyle had said that you can't pass each other.
I don't
So
think I said
somebody
that.
said that. Okay.
I mean, unless that hole restricts us from moving.
It's like it's a drop. It's probably about a 5-foot drop into a hole.
Okay. So
But,
it's not very far.
Sorry, was that your question?
That was probably
Yeah,
my
it was
question.
how deep was the hole?
Okay, it's about 5 feet. So this owl bear seems to be like at least partially restrained by part of a wall, kind of.
All right. So I've already moved 10 feet. 15. I can't move diagonal. I'm guessing with how.
Not on a corner like that. No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
okay.
allow that.
But we
Uh,
can share a
Yeah,
space
15,
for a second.
20, 25, and then 30. I'm gonna peek in here real quick because it's just an archway, not a door, correct?
Yeah. In short, you see a room with lots of cubby holes all along all the walls. All of the cubby holes are packed full of skulls of different shapes and sizes. And on the very far wall, there are some much larger cubby holes. Some of them filled with enormous skulls, probably as big as your torso.
Okay. And what's the floor look like?
In that skull room, the floor is a kind of a stone tile work.
Hold on, I have to consult.
Consult the dice.
The floor under your feet right now along this pit is like wooden planks, but they're well constructed wooden planks, unlike what you saw in the hallway.
Okay. So Rixer's going to sort of carefully put Montwood down on the floor, just inside the room.
That's where you want to be.
Oh yeah, he's still laying down. Sorry. And I'll turn towards the owl.
Oh, there.
It's an owl there.
It's an owl there.
So you put him inside the room.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
no.
no.
I decided I was rolling for do I put him in the room or do I prop him up against the frame of the archway?
So because we've encountered this room more fully now, I'm going to read you the formal description of what you see. Before you is a grisly collection of a variety of skulls. Many of the skulls look disturbingly human, along with a few that can only be the thick skulls of ogres. All are nested in shallow cubbies. The cubbies cover every wall of the smallish side chamber and are reminiscent of a library, though choked with polished skulls rather than books. What's your turn? Okay, you know what? That's all that happens actually right now.
Yeah, that was the end of my turn.
And I gotta make a note. Cool. So that was Rixer's turn. We're at 20 on the initiative tracker.
I called Monday Night TPK for no reason.
Gilly, you're in the doorway, right?
Not on purpose.
You got.
Yes.
I think your mini got pushed to the side.
Yeah, sorry. I did
Yeah.
half and half, kind of square, and I didn't.
No thank you, crossbow bolt auto hit.
I put us in that doorway for a reason.
Yeah.
Torna
Uh-oh.
hears a click
Oh no, get down!
and a wooden shaft comes flying towards you and misses you wildly.
Beginner's luck.
You feel like you've successfully
Good
done
at this.
something. You hear another click.
Oh,
Will a 22 hit your armor class?
no.
No? I feel like you're lying to me. You take 1 point of of bludgeoning damage
Oh, 1.
as you are hit by this shaft of wood. Give me an acrobatics. No, I'm sorry, dexterity save. This would be a save.
4.
Okay. You lose your balance.
Anytime I try that?
Yeah, I mean, like, you're leaning into it, but it only holds like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like holding it above you still as you kind of sink almost. Well, I guess you're a dwarf.
Basically, feather falls me into the acid.
Yeah. It's like a slow burn.
Waves.
And it kind of,
It's pulling my legs up. It's not working.
being a dwarf, it's probably up to your like mid thigh, a little bit, almost to your hip, probably the depth. Kind of ballparking it there.
Which way would she fall? To the left or the right?
To the left always. And you take 1 point of acid damage. But that is it. Gilly,
Okay.
the turn is yours.
Excellent. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay. I will go 20 feet to share space with Rixer.
Okay.
Ever so slowly.
It won't work, and I don't want
Ever so quietly.
to.
And I will reach a hand out to my dead old friend and tap him with some sweet, sweet cure wounds. Rolling a d8. Hi.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 points for yourself.
10?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
That teleportation thing didn't kick in, huh?
I think it's when we're like down. Yeah. If we fail all our death saves.
Or if you succeeded at it? You think it would teleport you if you succeeded?
No.
No, you just go back
All right.
to 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
So
Well, you
Gilly,
get stabilized unless you get a nat 20.
Oh,
Then
alright.
you can
Oh,
attack with one.
Gilly also ducks like behind Grixor because big meaty meat shield.
sure,
Is it
sure.
partial cover, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, Ryan?
Does meat grinder mode do death saves reset when you get healed?
I'll say yes.
Okay.
Yay.
Same rule for death save reset. As soon as you regain consciousness, you reset.
Figured I nicked that question in the bud.
All right, cool. I mean, yeah, 'cause you got a 3 last time, so you were gonna die no matter what, right? It's fine. Everything is fine. All right, that was Gilly's turn, being the kind cleric that she is, Is anybody? Nobody's in the cobblestone. One person's in the acid. We'll get to her. When we get to her. Oh man, nobody's in the the sandstone area. This is the first time somebody could have been in the sandstone area, and nobody was there.
Rixer was there at one point, but it already passed its initiative.
Yeah. The bugbear seemed.
What?
Nope, sorry, not
Owl
bugbear.
bear?
The owl bear. Too many kinds of bears. The koala bear.
Oh.
The drop bear. the owl bear seems to be turns to kind of like look directly at Rixer, especially since Rixer is now the closest. It takes a step forward.
You guys ready for that TPK? Because here it comes.
It takes a step forward.
Owl bears are rough.
And it brings its arm back. And Rixer, because you're right there, what is your passive perception?
Oh, I have to actually fill that out. I'm trying to remember.
10 plus your perception.
Perception. I know how to find it. Okay, so it's gonna be 14.
Cool. It makes a really odd sound.
Oh.
It makes like a series of like clicking sounds as its arm comes back, and then you hear a springing sound as its arm shoots forward and it tries to slice at you. Will a 20 hit your armor class?
Yes. Question.
Yeah.
Can Rixer think that it's going to attack Gilly and try to protect Gilly, therefore imposing disadvantage through my little special ability?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, we're sharing the same space.
I mean, that's true, but
It would probably be aiming lower.
it's very clearly like swinging at you. Let's see here. You take 8 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
Are you still standing?
Yep.
Cool. Bariel.
Let's kill it the same way we killed my Furby by dumping salt in its mouth.
I'm not as close as her, but with my passive 16, would I have been able to hear that?
You don't hear the ratcheting sound, but you can hear like the sound like a spring releasing, because that's pretty loud. Like, so it just makes a weird noise when it goes to swipe.
Okay. She's gonna feel like that's super awkward and weird.
She cringes a little bit.
She's going to make a perception on it and see if I can tell that it's obviously fake.
Okay.
That's not very good. I'm rolling a crap. That's a 12.
With no. Yeah, you get the sense maybe something is weird and off, but you don't really understand what it is. What else you gonna do?
I guess I'm gonna try to pull some aggro here, and I'm gonna pull out my sword. It's not out of the hole, right? It's still in the hole? Or did it climb out?
No, it is still like it is moved directly right next to Rixer.
Oh, it moves?
Yes, yeah.
It took a step forward.
Okay.
Okay. But it's still in the pit.
I was thinking it was like a dark ride animatronic.
No, it has moved. It's being played by a flesh golem.
I will drop down in that 5 foot,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna run up to it with my longsword and pull aggro and just take a swing at it. Jesus. Nope, that was a 2 on the die.
What's your total?
Oh God. Where's my bonuses? My sword. Let's see, 7, 8.
Nah, you do miss it. Yeah, so you take a swing at it. You know what? It's like hitting the broadside of a barn. Like, your sword makes contact with this thing.
Yeah.
And you feel like your blade of your sword cut through its skin very, very easily. And like you hit something very hard on the inside. And you can pull your sword back. There's no like, damage to you, or it doesn't even respond to having been hit.
I need to look up something real quick on my phone. Because I want to see if this is an action or not. This room isn't very well lit, right? It's just like
It's dim illumination.
dim light. So I want to see if I can make it brighter in here.
When you're looking that up, Danny, do you have something out of character?
I wasn't, I guess, remembering that Rixer has dark vision. Whenever,
Oh, okay.
whenever he got attacked, would the way the owl there attacked him look not realistic, not animal-like?
It pulled its arm back and it swung at you.
Okay. Well, and just the way that you described it the first time, I didn't know if it was just like a regular arm or if it was like it shot out.
No. The arm at the shoulder joint like pulled backward.
Back. Okay.
I mean, and I described it kind of slowly, but it happens very quickly.
Okay.
And then you hear a spring release as it shoots forward.
Okay.
Metaphorically, not literally at you,
Right.
but like.
Well, that's
And it is, yeah. It swings, and its hand seems kind of like very immobile, but firm, and you felt it was very hard with its sharp claws.
Okay.
But its hand and it kind of just like holds there in place after it strikes you,
Oh.
kind of out in front of you.
The item that I have that you gave me
'Kay.
does not specify whether it takes an action or a bonus action.
All you gotta do is shake it, like it
So
just
that's
like you can disturb
sometimes
it.
items take an action. That's why I was.
I would let you the same way you would like sheath a weapon or any kind of minor action that you can do
Okay.
like with other things. I think
Alright.
minor action is that even a 5th edition term?
No.
No, but
No. There's a few things you can do as minor actions.
But yeah, like,
Interacting with an object is free.
So
yeah, I would just interaction like
okay,
if
she's
you have it
gonna
in your
take
hand and you
that
give it a
then.
good shake and it's
Yeah,
gonna...
it hangs from her neck, so she just reach up and grab it and then shake it, and the room is gonna light up. A bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet.
Is that half the numbers?
Magical light, and it lasts for 1 minute.
Is that half the numbers? Right, I told you the new...
Oh, that's right. It was half. So 5-foot radius, dim light, and then an additional, or bright light, then an additional 5 feet. So 10 feet total. 5 feet is just right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
That lasts for 1 minute, but that would give a good perception because I'm right next to it of the creature itself.
Yeah.
So, just curious what it looks like now in bright light.
Is it still your turn? I guess at the very end of your turn. Yeah, no, it is, it looks like an owl bear. It is really like, it doesn't move quite like an owl bear. It doesn't have like a fluid muscle motion. There are like chunks of feathers missing here and there. The furry underbelly's got like just totally bald patches, and you can see kind of a pale, it doesn't quite look like skin, but skin should be there. Kind of a pale, smooth, something where the bald patches are.
Blood on my sword?
Not a drop.
Not a drop. Yep. Okay. I'm done.
All right, cool. Torna, you are alone in this hallway.
Yeah, do I have to roll to get out of the pit, or can I just get out?
From where you're a dwarf. Give me an athletics or acrobatics. It's gonna be a pretty low DC. You got your mage hand there to help you too, right?
Yeah.
Give me advantage. I'll give you advantage. Helping you pull you up a little bit.
23.
Yeah, you're easily. You can pull yourself out of the acid.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Am I within your light?
No, it's only 5 feet.
Cool.
So 5 feet of bright, 10 of dim,
So I don't.
or another 5 feet of dim. So you're in the dim.
Yeah, but the light was already dim.
Yeah.
Here,
So, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't think Torna's quite, number one, aware that something's funky with this thing. It's just like, holy crap, big animal. Two, I don't think she's really aware that other people have dark vision. So she kind of does this like hidden with her hand, but she pulls up her bandana and an Eldritch Blast fires out.
Cool.
Does a 19 hit?
A 19 totally hits.
Eldritch Blast is 10, right?
It sure is.
Cyclops.
It's 2 damage.
Alright.
And I pull the bandana back down.
Cool. So as soon as... I'm sorry, is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as Torna leaves the hallway, a gate in that archway slams down. And for the moment at least seems to seal off and re-entrance to the hallway itself.
Okay.
So as we move to the top of the initiative, our scene is thus. Our adventurers seem to be fighting a very mysterious and very odd owlbear. Our friend Montwood has recently risen from the almost dead in a room full of skulls, some of which he might notice are beginning to rattle a little bit in their cubby holes. Brielle is at the feet of the monster, shedding light with a mysterious necklace, an item she wears around her neck. And our friends Rixer and Gilly are kind of directly in front of the monster. Gilly hiding a little bit behind Rixer, but you don't get a sense of fear, just so much as tactical advantage. Everyone has managed to leave the deadly hallway, and when we return in our next amazing episode of Monday Night TPK, we'll see how much longer everyone lives.
The Thunderlock Barcrawl can be found in Rolled and Told, issue number 0, published July 2018 by the Lion Forge.